Um, I think last year, I was, and it was just purely just for fun. I was hanging out with another kid in my office, Jamar Alls, and I saw that his business was 100% social media, and I was like, I saw the kind of money that he was making, and I was like, well, there's, even if I'm not gonna go full go at it, even though I don't need it, um, I don't need to make the extra money. It's good to have that social media presence, and because I kind of socialize a lot, especially on the weekend. Uh, it's kind of pretty cool to pull out your Instagram while you're talking to somebody and say like, here, because we put out information, we put out what sold, we put out um, client testimony, client reviews, and
Yeah.
so just to have that and just the way that it looks, like easily, you know, people are just like, here, take my number, let's connect.
Yeah.
Um, so in that way, it has helped out a lot as well.
Now, I know when I had you on last, I believe you were on a team at the time, and I believe one of your focuses was kind of niching down your business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now you're kind of on your own, correct? With
Mm-hmm.
an assistant. Kind of walk me through kind of that process, that transition. I think a lot of people, get worried or concerned about that transition of leaving a team and going out on their own. I
Mm-hmm.
guess, did you have much thought into that, or was it kind of just a natural thing for you?
Um, I think um, really I would probably say, I think the level of support for me was a little too good to be true. Um, and I kind of doubted that, but really now, like, it's not it's not surprising to go to an appointment and you know we at least with that person in my niche market, because they're part of the niche market, will they will have already known at least two people that I know or that I have sold a house to. Um, and and uh, my client base is super super loyal. Um, you know, uh, yeah, it was scary, but I think
But you were already producing at a high level at that point, right?
yeah, it was everything was like the numbers were going up
Yeah.
in a very short period of time. And luckily, I don't do less than, well, I haven't done less than 50 transactions, year over year. So, um, yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on that. You mentioned earlier your goal this year was 90 transactions, and then you just mentioned, you haven't done anything less than 50. And a lot of agents hear those big numbers, especially as a solo agent, and
Mhm.
they're like, how? Right? Like, how do you manage the day to day and the time, invested, to do that type of transaction count, that type of volume? Because that's a lot, especially if you're dealing with, and I don't know your business, buy side versus list side, but
Mhm.
what is some of those management, time management, activity management type activities that are really helping you out to get to those numbers?
Yeah. Um, it's I save a lot of time because I don't have to prospect. Um, I think what I kind of did when I want to do like a quick audit in my head and do some reflecting, I don't prospect. I don't do none of the cold calling, none of the door knocking. Uh, I think, my office neighbor, Nathan White, he's very big on, giving, focusing on the current client, before and after the transaction. And I think with me, like that's a big thing. My mentor, he really understood his just our market, our niche market. Um, and I think now with my assistant, when I hired her, I spent a lot of time, she spent a lot of time in the car with me, went on to a lot of like the appointments, and I kind of just pointed out like the different um, nuances of it all and kind of try to organize it for her so she can understand it, from how people, um, what are the motivations to buy a house, uh, you know, the, how life changes, understanding how life changes, how it's all different living here, the experience, the journey living here, and different for a lot of the generation, you know. So I kind of broken all that down to her. So just like really understanding all the nuances and knowing what to say and understanding who you're talking to and how to find motivation. Um, that has helped me, streamline everything. Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So are you just straight SOI based? You're not doing any leads or anything like that, are you?
No, I would like to. I would like to learn more strategies. I think that's why I invested uh, into the social media, and I
Yeah.
want to invest more heavily into that, into like myself and Kim, and try to see if we can grow, you know, in the marketing space. Uh,
What
and work that way. I'm also looking at different coaches uh, as as well.
cool. And with your current business and bringing in those types of numbers, are you doing anything to, I mean, what we would call raving fans, right? Like what I call raving fans is your past clients or your sphere of influence that are your biggest cheerleaders, right? That are the ones that are referring the most amount of business back to you. Do you have a system or anything that you're putting in place, or are you just kind of creating, an amazing experience during the process of buying or selling that they are just remembering you?
Um, I the attention is definitely there. Um, you know, the relationship building uh, is definitely there. Really, um, understanding the small details, so then that they are raving fans. I did have a movie truck at the beginning of the year, but I unfortunately had it came with a lot of issues, so I traded it in, got rid of it, got something else, and then I have another business with a family member and moved that right along. But uh, again, going back to understanding what people experiences like here in America. I mean, it's for a lot of them, it's a big change. I think a lot of people don't see that, but it's a huge change, and so um, um, the really the follow up, the going back to um, going back, circling back spending time with them, really getting to know them, really hearing them out, I think is definitely the biggest thing. Um, and that's something that I've started, I really started to realize, especially this year when I do a little bit of reflecting, is especially now with technology, the consumer, and I've heard this in a lot of podcasts, the consumer has the same information as you do, right? You know, it's really hard to impress really anybody based on the information, you know, especially like when you're dealing with retail buyers.
Yeah.
Really hard to impress somebody with just, sheer facts. A lot of them are going to know, comps. A lot of them are going to know, what else is selling in the area. Um, but, um, it definitely, and that's why I try to, the long-term goals for a lot of my clients, long-term strategies, are very important. Um, and, uh, and the relationship part is very important. I'll be 100% honest, having the production is very much a luxury. But with that, you know, um, I think now I have to take advantage and really establish strong relationships with the people who are very loyal and very motivated. And I think, now that I'm really busy with juggling, different types of buyers, I'm more reluctant to let, the ones that um, are not going to produce me multiple transactions in the future.